I used to think that myths and legends are basically the same thing, just different words for old stories. But when I started to build my own world, I realized that they actually do different jobs. So in this video, I want to share my findings and break down exactly what sets myth apart from a legend, just in case if you didn't know that either. Let's start with the myth. Myth is not just a story, it's an explanation. Ancient people didn't have the knowledge about the world that we have now, so they created myth to answer fundamental questions like, why is there thunder? It's Zeus throwing lightning bolts. Or where did people come from? The gods sculpted them from clay. So people needed to understand things like what death was or why do cycles of nature exist. So myths are not trying to record what really happened. These are timeless stories. They are not bound to time or place. They are eternal stories beyond human scale. Myths don't tell us how it was, but why the world is the way it is. The heroes of the myth are usually gods, titans, demigods, supernatural beings. And a myth is essentially an ancient religion, philosophy, and science all rolled into one. Its purpose is to explain the cosmos. For example, in my universe, Baitirek is a myth. It's not about a specific event, but it explains the structure of the world and how everything is connected. Now let's move on to legend. These are down-to-earth stories. The main ingredient of a legend is a grain of truth. At its core, there is always something real. A person, like Robin Hood or King Arthur, who likely had historical prototypes. A place, like Lost City or Mysterious Island, or an event, great battles in the past. The problem is that over time, this real foundation gets embellished. The deeds become more incredible, the heroes more noble, and the villains more cunning. The heroes here are human, but their actions are so great that they take on a touch of magic. So legends are real stories that were retold so often that eventually they turned into heroic epics. Their purpose is not to explain the world, but to glorify a hero or preserve the memory of a person or an event. Legends also educate. They are usually stories about loyalty and bravery. There is a character in the Kazakh mythology, Qoblandı Batır, that can be a great example of a legend. So he's not a god or cosmic force, he's just a warrior. But over time, his story was retold again and again, and each time it became bigger. His strength became almost superhuman, and his victories almost impossible. And that's what legends do. They take a real or possible person and turn them into something unforgettable. So let's summarize. A myth is an attempt to explain the origin of the world, natural phenomena, and divine forces. A legend is the way to pass on a lesson or preserve the memory of a person or an event. What's interesting is that over time, myth and legend began to merge. Let's take Atlantis, for example, which scholars still debate. For most, it's a philosophical myth invented to explain ideas, but for others, it's a real lost civilization whose grain of truth we are still searching for. In any case, both legends and myths are humanity's greatest heritage. Myths help us understand humanity, and legends help us understand ourselves. And when you start building your own world, you decide what becomes eternal and what becomes history. I hope this video was useful and interesting for you. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.